There's a heavy police presence at the Phillipi East police station on the Cape Flats. However, no members of the South African National Defence Force are in sight yet.
A massive joint operation between the SANDF and the police is expected to get underway to combat gangsterism and violence in the region. Let's get the latest. Vanessa Poonah is in Phillipi. Vanessa, very good morning to you. When can residents expect to see members of the South African National Defence Force in their areas?
Good morning to you, Blaine. Yes, indeed. And of course, we've spoken to quite a number of people on the ground here. It's been quite difficult to get an official word from the South African police at this point in time with regards to exactly where they will be or when the South African National Defence Force members will be deployed. But we understand that they are expected in the various areas across the Cape Flats by a little later on this afternoon. Blaine, I can tell you in Phillipi East at the moment, we've spoken to quite a number of members of the community who are anticipating the arrival of the members of the SANDF, saying that this is what they have been calling for quite a while. We know this morning, since 2 o'clock this morning, police have begun operations in areas such as Phillipi East, and we understand in areas such as Nova Park as well, where they have been doing foot patrols as well as vehicle patrols. Stop and searches have also taken place, and this, of course, part of the plan to tackle the rampant crime that has had its grips over parts of the Western Cape in recent weeks and months.
Vanessa, the primary objective of the Defence Force is to defend and protect the Republic, its territorial integrity and its people in accordance with the Constitution. But what will their exact role be in the Western Cape?
Blaine, if I can just take you back to a couple of years ago, as far as I remember, I covered a story back in May 2015. And at the time, the police had arranged an operation called Operation Fiela. Now, I understand that Operation Fiela also was rolled out in other provinces like KZN. But in May 2015, I was on a police operation in Manenberg on the Cape Flats. And at that time, the SANDF had also assisted police with that Operation Fiela. And basically, at that time, their role was to secure the perimeter because we know that a part of Manenberg at that point in time was under lockdown. So what happened was the SANDF had then secured the perimeter of a certain section of Manenberg, allowing then the police to move in and to do their operations. And I expect, Blaine, that during this cooperation between the SANDF and police this time round, their role may just be similar in terms of securing an area, stabilizing an area, so that police can go in and do the operations. We do know that it has the crime levels have spiked to such an extent, Blaine, that not too long ago 6 members of the anti-gang unit themselves came under attack, a brazen attack in Samora Machel, and that's of course also in the Phillipi area where we are at the moment. So I would understand that that would be the role of the South African National Defence Force when their boots hit the ground a little later on today.
I just want to tap into your experience and research, Vanessa. Post 1994, from your experience, have we seen this before, the Defence Force being deployed to assist in combating gangsterism among other crimes in the Western Cape?
To both the main and the alternate.
Yes, Blaine, indeed. My recollection stretches back to 2015, for example, that Operation Fiela that I was talking about. In my memory, I can't say that whether there's been similar operations after that, but definitely here in Cape Town, that is one instance that I've reported on, that I know, where I've seen cooperation between the South African National Defence Force as well as the South African Police Services. And that also was during a time, particularly when crime was rampant in the Western Cape. And when I say crime, I specifically mean gang violence. At that time, in May 2015, I remember it was a week where I think, I speak under correction, but as many as 10 people had been killed in that week. And of course, now if we look back at what happened recently in Phillipi itself, the murders of 6 young women in Marcus Garvey. The following day, 5 men gunned down in 2 separate incidents, also in Phillipi. But that is not the extent of the kind of violence we've seen, Blaine. It's also not just isolated to Phillipi. Phillipi, because we know that was last month, 5 people gunned down in Blikkiesdorp in Delft, for example. There have been outcries from various communities ranging from Mitchell's Plain to Lavender Hill to Nyanga, and these communities have been saying that they are living in fear. So we've basically witnessed not a day, hardly a day goes by, areas like Bonteheuwel, where communities have been telling us that daily there are incidents of shooting, and they have been calling for stringent action from those that are mandated to protect and to serve vulnerable communities.
Vanessa, what's the Western Cape Premier saying about this deployment?
The Western Cape Premier Alan Winde has been saying that they've welcomed this deployment of the South African National Defence Force. You would know that it is a matter that the Democratic Alliance, for example, has been calling for quite a while. But not just the Democratic Alliance. We've been deployed to various communities across the Cape Flats, and there have been some saying, yes, maybe the army is a good idea. Others saying, no, it could just result in a spike in violence. But we have heard both sides of the coin. Yesterday, for example, we were outside Parliament where a number of CPF members, that's of course Community Policing Forum members from various forums across the Cape, had come together. They had a meeting with Minister Bheki Cele, some of their board members, and speaking to us outside. For example, one of those members, Edward Doe, he was from the Athlone CPF, if I'm not mistaken. He was telling us that they, for example, supported the call, and of course now they would have supported and be very happy about the deployment of the South African National Defence Force, saying that they believe that this could be in his words, force multiplier to assist police in carrying out their duties to ensure safer communities.
All right, let's leave it there, Vanessa. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. Vanessa Poonah live for us in Phillipi in the Western Cape.